Nepal, country of towering mountains, fascinating geographical variations, and an evocative natural beauty, is a small landlocked country in Southeast Asia. Tourists and adventurers have identified its spiritual divinity and nature's influence on land. Bordered by the geographical and economically enormous countries India on the south and China on the north, Nepal has faced relentless change throughout history. However, at present, much of what is becoming centralized about Nepal's true nature isn't entirely true. There is much that we're untold of. Nepal has faced massive migrations throughout years, inside and outside the country. A country with more than 30 million people and a land area smaller than 150,000 square kilometers is a prominent example for overpopulation. A government which has been unstable for centuries has been unable to develop the small country due to its involvement in corruption, violence, extortion, and intimidation has been continued throughout the past. Nepal is a center of poverty, literacy, and lack of infrastructure. Its unproportional amounts of development and distribution of population gives it the title of one of the most underdeveloped countries in the world. Now, you might ask, why is Nepal so poor? How come the urbanization is so unmanaged? Why does Nepal have unproportional amounts of development? What is the reason for overpopulation in Nepal?
To answer these questions, we went to the Green Soldiers, a non-profit organization run by a group of young Nepali folks. With a motto of "From Swayambhu to Sagarmatha," they plan to clean the garbage and pollution throughout Nepal.
History goes way back, and it starts from the time when Nepal was Nepal, right? Before Nepal was not Nepal. It was there were so many kingdoms, and there were so many kings, and then came a king named Prithvinarayan Shah. He defeated everybody and made Nepal a whole country. Then it was big, right? And then when there was one ruler, then there started corruption. He needed revenue to raise his soldiers, to go in a war. He needed money, right? So they started corruption, and corruption started for power, right? Because power is the main thing to control. If you don't have any power, you can control anything, or you can go to war, right? So corruption started for power, and then because all the offices and I told you, right, urban areas remained urban and rural areas remained rural, because that time in our history, when people got rich, as in Ranas, right? When they got rich, they were situated in Kathmandu and few other places, right? Nice places. They built they had nice castles over there, right? For them, they had summer houses.
History has a massive role on its current situation. Nepal began when a king named Prithvinarayan Shah unified Nepal and made Kathmandu its capital. A treaty called the Sugwali Treaty was made in 1857 as a reason to stop a war against the British, causing Nepal to lose more than one-third of its land. Later, in 2006, a civil war took place in Nepal. The Nepalese Civil War was a significant incident in the country's history, causing more than 12,000 deaths. It drove people from north to east and from south to west, being the reason for an immense migration. However, the most significant incident was the Rana regime. Ranas that time were selfish and rich. They wished that only their family and heritage should be wealthy. Therefore, for more than 104 years, Nepalis who were not Ranas were prohibited from education. Gaining access to all taxes and trade of Nepal, the Ranas became richer, whereas other people became poorer.
In Rana region, a long time ago, many years ago, the country was fully ruled by Rana and their family members, and there was no particular rules and regulation, but whatever they want, it was kind of their rule. So king was just like he did not have king did not have power to act in the country, whereas the Rana they were ruling as prime minister, but they had more power. Due to that reason, the country was behind, almost for 104 years, and there was no development work, no hospital, no college, no schools, so people were totally out of these facilities, and only few members from Rana family, from royal family, or their relatives were able to go to the school, college, or they had kind of hospital facility.
Over time, rural places got poorer and urban places got developed. Nepali people would have little or no chances for employment outside of Kathmandu, whereas in Kathmandu, they would gain a much higher pay than most areas of Nepal. Not only have these events affected the government of Nepal, they have also affected the ecosystem. While most places in Nepal seem to have a stable ecosystem, industrial areas like Kathmandu, Dharan, and Pokhara have a commendable amount of pollution and overpopulation within them. Wells and borewells are things that are commonly found in households of Kathmandu. A few decades ago, people could get all the water they needed from these sources. But nowadays, due to extensive dumping of water in the rivers and due to the building of roads, all the water extracted from the wells is contaminated. Nearly a century ago, the holy river Bagmati used to be clean, for people used to bathe, swim, and drink its water. But for people of this generation, this fact seems more like a mere tale. Due to the contaminated and insufficient water, the population of sparrows have extensively been decreased in Nepal, and the health of other animals living in the boundaries of contaminated rivers have also been affected. Due to overpopulation, dense industrialization, harmful and toxic gases such as carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and oxides of nitrogen are being emitted into the atmosphere. The water cycle, the carbon cycle, the nitrogen cycle, and biotic health have been compromised due to these events.
Considering all of these events, the people of Nepal still do have a lot of hope in their hands. During the past few years, Nepal has gone through an immense amount of development. In the May of 2012, the National Development Council approved the country's development plan, which aims at turning Nepal from a least developed country to a developing one by 2022. The plan is to achieve an annual growth rate of 6% and bring down the percentage of population living below the poverty line from the existing 23% to just 18% within that period. The government is also determined to reach this target and is solely focusing on hydropower, education, healthcare, tourism, agriculture, industry, trade, infrastructure, and good governance. Annual growth rate of 4.5% in agriculture and 3.2% in employment, reduction of maternal mortality, living standards, and life expectancy are expected to increase. With campaigns for cleaning the Bagmati River, extending and enlarging roads, building more schools, colleges, and hospitals, it is certain that Nepal will have a brighter future. Although Nepal does not have a really bright history, the people of Nepal surely can hope for the prosperity of their country in the future.
refuse to hide. Wipe the waves of tears from your eyes, reflections of smoke and fire.